versus the uncles got busy last night. I told Elle and Poe last night. It's like I think it's kind of inevitable if you come from a particular place that you just naturally just transform into an uncle. Like you just ramble. Hey man, how's your day going? You know what, brother? Look here, brother. Let me tell you something, brother. Yeah, it's like, whoa.
Don't be getting a combo if you ain't trying to be sitting around for a bit. Because it's going to drop a lot of jewels on you. You got to just pick them up as you can.
Man. Versus, I mean, is there any like, shout out our listenership. Let me get there though. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Castbox, Simplecast, you name it, Google playing for the next few weeks. Thank you. But our YouTube viewership, the way it's creeping up, salute to y'all. Continue to subscribe and then hit the bell for the notifications so that you get notified every time we drop a vid. Again, Let's Bubble Productions keeping us lit. Our brother Lex BUB cranking out video after video after video, and ruffling feathers too at the same time. It's kind of beautiful. But verse,
you didn't even hear the double entendre. This thing got it, bro.
Hey, don't gas me. Don't gas me.
This thing right here got it, bro.
A nigga that'll battle his mama is dangerous. I'm trying to tell you. That's crazy.
That's real. That's real.
Did anything more interesting in our world outside of Verzuz? Because I feel like that's just a beautiful place to start. Celebration of the Bay, the uncles. And then some dope observations that this nigga made last night. It was fucking, that I really want to get to. But should we just start with what a win for the Bay?
Man.
Wonderful win for the Bay.
Man. I haven't really sat down to watch Verzuz, since Verzuz has been taking place. So I really didn't even make a point because leading up to this, when I first got the notification that was what it was gonna be, I was like, all right, cool, But coming from out here, I already know what to expect basically, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me personally. But then I just happened to tune in, happy to turn it on or whatever, and then bro, just seeing the backdrop, seeing these dudes up there, man, see how much money was put into the budget for it. I started to feel how big of a look it actually was, for just the lingo out here, the conversation, the mouthpiece, the mentality, the connections. I think all of that shit was on full display, and it was nothing. It's nothing like it. It's absolutely nothing like it. So for people that aren't really in tune with how to bake it down, they got full blown masterclass last night.
Go ahead, Lex.
No, you go ahead.
Prior, if I'm being honest, I was hella worried about such an international moment for something that feels so niche. And I hope that doesn't sound derogatory or disrespectful. And to the point that you made last night in the thread, I'll let you speak to it. But that, when you said that, G, it hit different because it's exactly how I was feeling. I just wasn't able to word it like that. But what I was trying to explain to people is that whenever I've traveled, they sort of split the Bay specifically into these two worlds, right? Mm-hmm. Where they go prestige and upper echelon music, from the high roads to the hers, and then HBK is kind of in the middle where they get respect as MCs, but they don't get disregarded as hyphy or underground. It's strange. It's a strange thing. So I'm like, damn, I'm so protective of where we come from and how I feel about it. I wasn't necessarily ready to share it with the world like that and have to deal with all the weird little comments and because immediately when they announced it on the Verzuz page, the comments were who? Mm-hmm. Snooze fest, this, that. I was like, oh my God, the disrespect. Mm-hmm. And lesson for little old me, them niggas are OGs and GOATs for a reason because they don't give a fuck
At all.
At all.
At all.
Bro, that was a master class in fuck with yourself first.
Wholeheartedly.
Oh my God, that was beautiful.
And hey, man, coming out of that Verzuz too, if E40's gift game ain't up there with Rick Ross, because bro, he hit the moves he was hitting last night.
Oh my gosh,
bro, he did this tippy toe move like he was floating on air. Hey, I was like, oh yeah, it's a wrap.
Oh,
it's a wrap. He in a whole nother bag, bro. Because for Bay niggas, I said it last night, but for Bay niggas, if you give us drink,
yep,
eyes, and music, best believe it's over. You know what I mean? Like it's a wrap. It's gonna be a full blown party forever until you gotta turn the lights off in this motherfucker because they will. and even if you turn the lights off, bro, you better hope there ain't somebody with a phone that can still be blapping some type of music. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really just how the life forms are over here, bro. So like that shit was man.
Can you elaborate on the point you were making too, G?
We was talking for a minute. So.
Just I don't. You didn't call it pandering, but that's.
Oh, got it. Are you talking about like just like how like people would be tuning in now, like how they were commenting and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Well, I mean, if you just look at the comments, like it was overwhelming love and like admiration for what they were seeing.
Yeah.
But it's also almost as if like y'all was from out here and y'all actually are part of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of that feels like it is pandering in a way. And also just wanting to ride a wave.
A wave, yep.
And that's something that's happened so often with this area. And they talked about it last night too, as far as like the wave riding and shit like that, like taking that shit and going elsewhere and fully blowing up in your area from taking the game and and how we get down out this way, and going elsewhere like P and like it just
you name it.
List goes on. But the comment section, man, that shit was like, bro, like it was cool for me personally, being from out here. It was great to see how much people, quote unquote, loved the sound and the game that was being given. But it almost felt like when you try to get ahead of it and you don't even see you're not even paying attention to what's going on the screen. You're just jumping into the comments to say what exactly the last person said. And then y'all just end up piling up from there. And that's a common thing, bro. Like I really feel like people they find it cool to fuck with the Bay the way that they do, but they don't do their due diligence to find out more about like history here, what we stand for, what is our backbone, the reason why we are what we are, who we are, why we think the way we think, and why we can go in anybody's neighborhood and be, not saying that we'll be just fine because everybody can get caught wherever, but saying that game will recognize game and the thoroughness anywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't got a code switch nowhere where else you go to.
Facts. People
tend to jump on your line about shit or just take little fragments of it and put it into what they already know where they're at. So these are things that shouldn't be overlooked or pandered, man. Like I really feel like there's so much here. But Mani could talk to it more about on like the music side, because Poe's talk about the gatekeeper stuff and the industry gatekeeping. When on my comment on that one was that yes, there's for sure been blackballing and stuff like that. I believe that that's a thing. I believe they do put it as niche from time to time. But I also, and you can talk to it, you talk about it, I don't know if you want to, but if that a lot of times does come from the Bay as well, Bay established artists, if they also pile on to the gatekeeping and gate closing. If that's a part of it as well.
That's a better term, gate closing.
Yeah.
Right? Couple things you said there. The whole classifying it as niche and sort of dismissing it. I saw a tweet last night that Raj retweeted, and I hate that I don't know the gentleman's name who tweeted it, but it was maybe it was Delancey. I don't know. But I was hella grateful for the tweet. Maybe it wasn't. The Hella Black Pod, salute to those guys, by the way, too. Hell of my favorite podcast, going easily. But the point that was being made is that forever, the Bay, and not even the Bay, Oakland and Vallejo specifically.
Yeah.
Oakland and Vallejo.
Yeah, I said a Bay to open it up, but like it's never thought of as the Bay. Yeah.
But it's usually Oakland and Vallejo, for the most part, that are being compared to the likes of LA, New York, Atlanta. That's ridiculous when you think about it and how small those places are in comparison, right? Like it's pretty asinine. And then you want to throw Richmond in there as far as influence and directly Master P and what HBK have been to offer, like have had to like offer, like it's insane. Like that shouldn't even be in the same conversations. And so now go ahead and dismiss it as niche if you want to, but per capita, per impact, nigga, it's not even comparable when you talk about just population. So that's a whole nother conversation where it's a power move for one. Cause ain't no way in hell somebody can sell 50,000 to 80,000 units out of their trunk directly and not have no white folks in their pocket and them not go, all right, we got to figure that shit out. Like, that's crazy. All right, here come Jive and swoop up everybody in the 90s. And it ain't by accident that shit just stopped. If we I know Lex, you said you want to bring back Conspiracy Corner. Oh, nigga, let's do it. And for me, because shout out DJ Slowpoke who was spinning for short last night and rocked that Grand National hoodie. Salute to you, brother. That was amazing. It meant the world. I thought something was wrong. I thought I did something. My phone was. It's like, oh shit, because it's you. That's you, nigga. That panic set in. I said, oh my god. This can't be real.
Money started running through his last 24.
I did. I said, like,
checking everything.
Everything. Like, nigga, what did I do? But salute to Poke, man. That was amazing.
Where's the bat phone?
Whew. Nigga. So Poke was just putting me on game. He's like, bro, everybody got a deal. When Hammer got his deal, when 40 got his situation, when Short got his situation, Tony got their situation, like a Digital Underground, like it's like Loonies, like 3 times crazy. Drew Down, I was like, whoa, Richie Rich, oh nigga, slow down, like, and Banks, everybody got a situation out of that movement, and so it was the Bay as a whole. I guess the only thing to compare it to would have been Atlanta at the time, because once JD start ringing off. Crisscross, Escape, TLC, Dallas Austin, like that nigga, LA Reid and them had to go open a fucking office there. And so similar here, High Road, everybody start getting in situation. So it's like, okay, what's happening? But we talked, that's 30 years ago, and Atlanta's still going.
It's a hub.
It's a hub where niggas pick up and go move to. Artists are now going, if you're an artist and you're in Portland, if you're in Seattle, you would think you would go to LA. No, I know niggas up there that's going, I'm gonna go to Atlanta. They're not wrong. Not wrong at all. But
now when you say that, what you can get a house for?
But when you start talking about industry, Twitter, Uber, Pandora, nigga, like, what's the film company, the Disney
Pixar.
Pixar. Stop telling me it ain't no industry here. There is an industry here. iHeart came in and bought this bitch up and closed the gate, to G's point, and closed the gate on niggas to really be able to eat. And they outsource all of the creative work to LA to undercut niggas because it's so fucking expensive to stay here. The budgets are here. Netflix is here, fam. And the budgets exist, and trying to partition and act like those worlds don't collide is so disingenuous to the game that was being kicked last night. And so when you talk about 30 years of sustainability, bro, you got to put some respect on there. And not just 30 years of sustainability, but 30 years of sustainability and holding the door open, to their detriment. Sometimes them niggas held the door open and brought niggas with them. And as a byproduct of it, we got to celebrate them last night. And I just wanted that to be discussed. Because there are a lot of niggas in the middle. There are a lot of niggas in the middle who would identify as middle class in Bay Area hip hop, when really in all actuality the middle class don't exist, niggas. So you really under the poverty line if you would stop being goofy and do the math. But you only under the poverty line because you won't put nobody on. It's a simple thing. And they talked about it. Their entire verses last night was dedicated to trying to get the Bay to stop hating on one another.
That's it. They really it felt like they were drawing a line. Yeah. In the sand. Yep. And it was basically the Bay against everybody. Like it was that was the way that they were doing it. By also bigging up like all these different other areas that they felt love in. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not saying that if you support your own that you can't therefore do business or work with outsourced areas. That's not what they're saying. Like, that's not the communication whatsoever. But it is that you got to love your own first and foremost. You got to love where you're from first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that is ultra important to the process for longevity, you know, for being able to separate what my sound is from what the next man's sound is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I think that all goes hand in hand. And that shit was on full display, man. So big ups to them for that shit, man.
Yeah, man. People still searching for formulas and answers and the cheat code to success, if you will. And you got to look at it last night. Got to watch it last night. And so few people are going to gloss over how those two gentlemen celebrated one another. When you start doing the math on it, to niggas love that clubhouse shit. Right, one of the only times I ever sat in there to go peep what was going on, and I ain't been back because shit disgust me. But the one time I sat in there and got to really hear what was going on, Rogers being ridiculed, Rex Life Rogers being ridiculed for making the point that we had to watch last night. Where did Short and 40 have to go to get some of their biggest records? Atlanta. And niggas had, Short got ran up out of it. We ran Short up out of it. Niggas, stop it. Cameo wouldn't play Short at one point. Come on, bruh. Stop that goofy shit. And then last night still went out of their way to show love to the place that they got the most love-hate relationship with. Vallejo was divided at one point.
Talk about it.
We got the wrong enemies, dog. Like, we're beefing with the wrong people. And it's so distracting, and it undermines the real war. Can't win no war without no money. Can't get no guns without no money. So we can't compete without either.
Which was my point last night. Now I'm not remembering what I was talking about, but when I said calculated starvation, that's exactly what I was talking about.
Man.
Is that not understanding who your actual enemy is, but you're starved, so you're fighting amongst your own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally the best way to take out an entire group without actually having to do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do that from a distance. You ain't got to be in front of them. You ain't got to be around them. Let them take out themselves because you didn't starve. You didn't cut off their lifelines.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now what are they going to do when they got to fend for, go get your own little scraps that we're going to leave behind for you?
Yeah.
It's limited scraps. So what they out here doing? They got to take out their brother in order to make sure that they live to tomorrow.
Or you go, we don't care who fuck with us. We just going to do it our way. And it worked. 40 worked. We saw it last night. Short worked. God rest his soul. Mac Dre was working, doing what he wanted to do. And that was the lesson from last night. It's like, Bay niggas do what the fuck they want. And build and routinely build their own industry. And there's no stopping it. Because you go, all right, man. I guess I'll do it again. every time that there's a hurdle, 40 goes, guess I'll just reinvent myself again, man. Short goes, I need a hit. It's been a minute. All right, let's do it. It was so beautiful, bro. When you literally start doing the math, you going, nigga, this is 30 years of domination. Of just and when I say domination, I don't mean competing with the world. I mean doing you, and as a byproduct of doing you compete with the niggas who had to come steal from you. That don't impress nobody. I'm sorry. That was impressive, and I know I have the strangest feeling people are going to attempt to tell that story another way, but that's what I saw last night.
Completely, but that's part of the entirety of the story.
Yeah,
is that, and that's been the base thing this entire time. If we want to really just put a finger on the pulse of it, is that it's never about the actual narrative itself.
Yeah.
It's about doing the actual work it takes to stand out just by being yourself.
Yeah.
So you just got to continuously put in the work on yourself. And when you walk into a room, niggas say, oh, that's even if you ain't even trying to show out in this motherfucker today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's a part of the whole thing, bro. Like, that's literally the Bay in a nutshell. Yeah. I'm gonna leave those alone just because, like, I still just don't get, like, the whole. Yeah, never mind. Go for it.
No. Because how did you feel watching it last night, Lex? What was your perception? And I asked because granted, you're from Seattle. A lot of what am I trying to say?
Like,
you fuck with the Bay and its music more than even me. Like, how much you know. It always, you and Jizzle, like, from the Brother Lynch records, y'all can just run off. I'm like, bro, how do y'all even know this shit? Like, it's just impressive. So I'm curious as to what your lens, what your POV was watching last night.
I think for, like, people in Seattle love the Bay.
Yeah.
And
do you know what that relationship is?
I think it's just relationship of Bay Area artists. They when they fill up the trunk, they go up.
Yeah.
And Portland, Seattle, Tacoma, that whole drive up, they would sell records.
Yeah.
Tons of them. Like, I met Mac Dre when Thizzle Washington came out and he was in front of a CD store called Budget Records in Renton
Wow.
in a van with 2 other people. And
That's
he was,
it.
Yeah, and he was just selling, like, he was selling some to the actual record store. He sold them 50 at $10 a pop. Because I used to go to Budget Records and blow $200, $300 every Tuesday.
Yeah.
So he just happened to be in there, and he sold them 50 CDs at $10 a pop.
$10 wholesale. Wow.
And then I bought mine from him.
From him.
Just so it was like, it was a thing.
Yeah.
And it's a relationship where, like, Seattle loves the Bay.
Yeah.
So it was like, even me moving here and, like, throughout the years of being here, this is home for me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, the way me and Jizzle met and clicked up is because Jizzle loves E40.
Yeah.
So me and him used to just bounce Bay records off of each other and just talk about all sorts of different Bay Area artists.
Man.
Like, I remember when I first told him, like, hey, 3 Times Crazy is one of my favorite groups. And he looked at me, he was like, you don't know nothing about 3 Times. I was like, what?
What?
So we ended up going through the whole album, the Stack and Chips album. Just, yeah, so.
Man.
And watching the verses last night, it was special.
Yeah.
And being able to just see, it was like if you read the comments of so many people talking about, damn, I didn't know they was giving up like this and da-da-da. And even Dwayne Wade was like, man, there's so much music I missed out on. And I'm just like, wow, people just really didn't know.
Really didn't know. And that's ultimately what made it so special is like for all of that. Like, I literally was a nervous wreck for 40 or for short. And them niggas got up there and didn't give a fuck who was going to tune in. They showed up, and it's the old saying, if you fuck with you, when they pull up, they don't have no choice but to fuck with you. It was so beautiful to see.
That's it.
40 was up there gigging. I said, oh, man, this is beautiful. I got so many texts like, "Hey, nigga, you know this look like E-Baby up there."
Hey, no lie. When I saw him with the fit, I was like, "What? This is E-Baby."
Oh,
and then short remind me of Jeff so bad, like Lil Jeff.
Oh,
so
God.
like I was just looking at so much, like just man.
This is really where we come from. It was, man, to 40 short. Thank y'all, man. Like, I'm certain that they hear it all the time. But if anybody had anything was ever confused, if any had anything negative to say, last night put all that shit to bed, and niggas got to fully put some respect on the Bay. But because of those 2 gentlemen's legacy and what they've meant to the culture that dominates business now. I think that's how to put it in a proper perspective. The culture that dominates business and how much money it generates, those 2 men are directly responsible for a portion of that.